Hello, hello. You have no audio coming through. I do. They can hear me just fine.
On. Hello, welcome. Yeah, no, I was on voice mod.
That's fair. It'd be like that.
I should just set it up where voice mod automatically starts with Windows. I just don't want to put more programs on my computer than I need to use in a single day.
Yeah, I feel that.
But I do like using the voices.
You gotta have the cool effects.
It was cool. I like Brandmaster's character voice. But anyway, I'm a little stuffed up, so I apologize. So like recovered from being a little sick, and it's just today I decided, hey, let's live in your nose. So that's great. But
don't worry, chat. I'm doing fine.
Surprisingly,
I'm doing great.
Surprisingly,
honestly,
a guy coughs an aisle over from Alex, and he gets sick the next day.
Imagine.
Excuse me.
I think I caught something. My friend was on Discord and like he was coughing.
He was coughing, and then today I just feel terrible. But we do have some fun stuff coming up here today. But today, I think a big part of what we're going to be doing is just kind of chatting about some drama going on, you know, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the creator process and everything that, you know, goes into doing what we do and kind of the progress we made, because I gotta check here real quick, but we are fast approaching my 1-year YouTube anniversary.
Hell yeah.
And also, let's see, yeah. Why Bard fucks. Here we go. Yeah, September 13th. So, September 13th, I make it the 12th just because I technically started my journey on content creation on the 12th of October was when I officially started. So,
makes sense.
But yeah, and that's when the first why this class is awesome video came out, which actually was the video was, I didn't know until someone said it way after the fact. Why is Bard the only one that's great and everything else is awesome? Because it was originally why Bards are great in Pathfinder 2E. That's really I changed funny. It to awesome to everything after that, but I didn't change the title for Bard.
Yeah, just keep it like that.
No, it's fixed already.
Ah, damn.
But yeah, so yeah, it's been an interesting journey, I think, up until this point. And I mean, to be fair, my experience is not going to be the same as I feel like most anyone else who would like to do anything. Different adjective for each would be funny.
Yeah, some unique.
There's too many classes. That's 22 adjectives I gotta come up with, man. I'm not a smart man.
Why Swashbuckler is hype. Why Druid is cringe.
Oh, the druids out there angrily shaking their branches.
I mean, yeah, they got nothing else threatening, like to shake at me. No, champion's not Pog.
Champion's pretty pog.
No.
Champion's really, really pog.
Mm.
God, a champion on the battlefield changes the tides of battle so much.
But they can't smite.
I mean, they can if you build them that way.
It's a baby smite. It's like a lame smite. It's like, oh, I did a few extra damage. Whoa! Instead of like, here's 6d8s. Have fun. Yeah, it's
I mean, to be fair, 68s is kind of baby damage in Pathfinder anyway, Alex, sorry to say.
Well, then increase it for Pathfinder. I'm just saying, it's like the one thing 5e got right. That's all I'm saying. Like, 5e, like, you know, has some stumbles in there, but, like, they got Paladins, like, right.
You know what, though? I legitimately agree. I think Paladin is a very interesting class in D&D 5e. I think it feels really good. It feels very competent whenever you use it. If every class felt that way, I think D&D would be probably the best game out there.
Yeah, most likely. I'm gonna start banning people now. If this keeps happening.
Also, I was just checking
You're
my...
completely on the money, Dead Phoenix. They made it so good by making it broken.
Yeah, but if everything felt broken from a player perspective, it would be great.
True. I'm a big believer of don't nerf things, make buff everything else. Just make everything like sick, and that's how you should balance your thing. Don't make a few things lame.
Like, playing a paladin feels good. There's some classes in D&D that don't feel good.
I will still say the most fun I've had in 5e is playing a paladin. Like, at least, like, in combat-wise.
I enjoy playing my evil wizard.
Yeah.
It was fun to get into all kind of magic shenanigans.
You would be a fan of wizards. You are a good wizard player. You can actually think like that.
Yeah. Well, and it also helped that I didn't play the Blaster Caster Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had legitimate fun playing with, like, the Homunculus spell and many of the other spells. It was fun to literally concoct a lot of situations. Oh, yeah. Sorcerer is definitely one I gotta try in either system. Probably it's Pathfinder.
Interesting. But I wish they had a bit more, like, spell options, but some of the tools they have are really fun. Though, yeah, I'm also, like, if I was to play a wizard, which I actually have a wizard build that I'm working on, my Curse Maelstrom, like, Eldritch, like, Touch Wizard build, he is going to be a Blaster Caster. Because that is fun. That seems more fun to me.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Blaster Casters. Yeah. What made Nico's, like, fun and specific for my style was I had so many spells of a wide variety. He had so many tools by the end of that campaign. It was really, really good.
There was some cool shit he was doing.
I was about to say, though, my AdSense has finally come through for a full month. We got like $107 or something like that, so pretty lit, pretty good. It makes it feel like the channel's actually doing something.
That's hype.
I definitely got to get back on well, oh my goodness. Going to Norway was fun, and I don't regret it, but it definitely set things back a little bit.
Yeah.
That week, I had 2 archetypes come out, and no class builds, which I think hurt the channel a bit. And then last week, I could only get 1 video out before everything was hell. So, you know. This week, I'll have 2 class builds and an archetype coming out. And then next week is when we're going to do our community spotlight for Pathfinder 2E builds, which is super exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. I'm excited to... I've been skimming through the builds, seeing some interesting stuff. Still waiting for some builds that are particularly like, hey Alex, here's your aesthetics in a build. I made this for you. Or
right.
Just, like, to get featured. Because, like, listen, I am susceptible to bribery if you make something specifically that I would think is cool. Like, I
will say,
like, dig into that.
We got a lot of builds, but they're all for, like, 2 people.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god, you should, Colton. Please
download
really Path Builder, make a build, and just, like, see how it works. That would be really funny.
I know Suzanne is looking to do Bard Gamble Japes build.
Hell yeah.
For the community spotlight. Do it. Do it, Dead Phoenix. If you make a build that'll make Alex absolutely cringe, I will select it as one of my picks.
No, you can't do this to me. This isn't fair. First,
Alex,
you gotta select more builds than I do.
So much joy.
You gotta select more builds than I do, and now you're
yeah,
gonna pick
exactly. I get
mad.
to abuse power and make you cringe. It's great.
I don't like this.
All I know is you would do the same thing.
Oh, 100%, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Devin, well, fair. Crystal Project's a great game, but also you have so many builds anyway. You just gotta put them down.
Just literally like copy paste one of your builds.
We don't have any strict like templates for how your build should look.
No.
It's just all it has to be is just a loose enough description of how your character is built so that other people could attempt to recreate it.
As long as I can read through it and be like, I know what you picked. Like that's, and then like if you want to like explain how it works, some like decisions behind it, give a tiny little write up. Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, whatever you feel will make the build more interesting to view, all the better.
Yeah,
because we're all about that content here as well.
Because also a fun like thing of this, I would think is like really interesting about this idea, is the possibility that people could like go to the Discord, see all these cool builds, and be like, "Huh, I'm gonna try that." Yeah, it would be a bad choice. Be a pretty shit choice.
I could think of a champion build where you could cast 9th level spells.
Why would you want that? Well, I guess like right back to the beginning of it. Why would you play that class? Like, I don't see the purpose. Just play cleric, because they can like kind of smite better. It's not the same, but they can do it more.
I don't think Alex has banned a single person yet. So y'all
no, the one person I would have
the
banned.
boogeyman.
One person I would have banned. I was not looking at my phone, but I would have banned like that dude in a fucking heartbeat. Zero hesitation. I have no mercy.
I don't know. He eventually got banned anyway. So
yeah. I will threaten to ban all I want. We'll see if I follow through with it. But however, if you do a recall knowledge build, like just a full-on one, I'm going to like lambast it and insult it. Because why would you do that? Why would you want to know about a creature?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, why would you want to learn?
I do like I do have to say I love like the recall knowledge stuff on Roll20 when I could add the character like the creature stats to the page that y'all can see and how it formats and everything. I think that's really fun.
Oh yeah, they have a really good tool for a thing I'm never gonna use.
Yeah, but I mean like legitimately from a gameplay perspective.
Oh yeah, no.
I like that kind of stuff. I find that stuff is very engaging.
Oh yeah, it's very engaging. It is like nice to have a person in your party who is like figuring out like weaknesses and abilities and stuff for you. That's always cool.
Sometimes you don't always have the ability to do so.
That's horrific. You
can
get rid of it with 5 HP with your pool. Why do you need to know it's there first? Just get rid of it. Give a little healing and it's gone. That's awful.
You're also a paladin. You're immune to disease.
Yeah, if someone else has it, you just heal them. I think you might be poisoned. 1 sec. Let me use an action to check. Then just use Greater Restoration.
Blasting Alex's poor taste in classes aside. Granted, again, I will also posit that Paladin in 5e does feel really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, actually, that's such a funny, like, diametric opposition between Pathfinder and D&D. And D&D, casters are always touted as being the most powerful, but in Pathfinder, it's the marshals.
They get all the crazy kooky actions. And also, like, I've heard the stories of a all-trip build martial party where you trip an enemy, then curb stomp them, like, all in a circle.
I
I've heard
gotta
that from your
say,
game.
it's a really messed up team.
Yes.
It really beats down and takes the boss's lunch money
Like,
every
it
time
is.
we get into it.
There's like a boss fight, and then there's bullying. Like,
Yeah.
that is what you're teetering on.
I mean, it's something that is easily solved, but
yeah.
running through a module and stomping the module is fun in its own right.
Oh yeah, no, I can imagine. Like, it sounds like a great time. I just really like picturing this rampaging group of like D&D bullies who are just like tripping people, then getting in a circle and just kicking. Like, and then they just like the boss dies and they run off as fast as they can to the next one. It's like a group of speedrunners going through a game.
Yeah, a little bit. It's just it's really funny, especially because we all have like Titan wrestler and everything like that now too. So even when we fought like a shadow giant recently, we're just like, take their lunch money, trip
the
them,
leg.
hold them down to the ground, and just kick the shit out of them. It was really good.
That sounds really funny.
Fortunately, I haven't run into the same problem in my games, though. Gotta say, the last session, man, that fight, I could have made that fight at least a lot more interesting. But I was just like, okay, I need to get the players to, like, disengage from this fight. Let me just maul one of them, and then I can't roll above a 5.
Yeah.
And, y'all are trying your best, and this guy just really can't be beaten by y'all.
No, we're in a fucking standstill, and it's gonna be like that. Like, I am still gonna argue next session, like, all right, y'all, let's just fucking like surrender or take him up on his offer, like, just so we can not have an entire session of just like nothing happen again. Like, we need to have the content.
I gotta say, I feel bad for Alchemist, man. If it was a fighter, y'all would have been having a lot more trouble.
Yeah, we would have probably died. Like, Alchemist, I mean, one, how does that even work? Like, no one knows.
Pretty good.
Literally, no one knows how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, it seems crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he has some adjustments that make him more boss potential than as a player character, but legitimately as well.
To make his rules make sense.
Yeah. But despite that, it's something that a player could feasibly get to with their GM giving them some extra boons.
I could get a cool power suit.
I mean, he got that power suit because he's multi-class with Inventor.
I want the power armor.
Yeah, in fact, any character, even a wizard, could technically get heavy armor if they just multi-class into Inventor. The thing about it is they're the only ones that can use the armor, though.
I mean, that makes sense.
It is, but that's kind of the thing. But his gauntlets are really cool. I can't wait to eventually have you all see them, but it will not be in this fight.
I can't wait to use them.
Maybe one of them is a generally like good for anyone.
Yeah, I'm Marshall. I'm a Marshall character.
I mean, technically they're both good for everyone, but the other one, yeah, I like the blast gauntlet that shoots.
Would it count as a two-handed weapon?
The gauntlets? No.
Yeah, could it?
No, because they're not even weapons, actually.
Oh, I get cool benefits for having two-handed weapons.
Yeah.
I mean,
which makes that trident kind of rough for you.
Yeah, it's nice to pull out. And then I was thinking about it. It was like, for that one, it's a little useless. It seems like for that fight, because the whole abilities would have never procced. They do like similar enough damage. It's just one is a cooler ability.
Yeah.
It depends what I want to use it for. Because I can see using the trident, stabbing, and then switching to my Foul Shard. Like, that might work.
I mean, and that's good. The game system should also motivate players to have situations where they choose different weapons to make more weapons more viable.
Yeah, and I like fighting with the polearm and like describing it. I think it's really interesting. It's a weapon I've never wielded in a D&D game before. So like role playing, like using a pole arm. It was something I like legitimately was like studying in other games. I was like, I'm gonna wield a pole arm purposefully in this video game so I can describe it better with Adrian.
That's fair. I have very little personal practice. I used a bow staff, which is similar, but
Yeah,
not the same.
yeah. It's a long stick, not a pole arm. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and your grips are different and everything like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it's definitely the fights. I think the fight could have been more interesting if I made Brandmaster move a lot more as well and like change up the dynamics rather than just having everyone pop a squat and just try to dump damage. That's on me. The thing is, he has such a high chance of critting y'all with almost every attack that I'm just like, all I need to do is just down one of the players, and then the fight changes dramatically. And then I roll like 3 times under a 5, and it's just like, well, if I'm gonna roll like shit, I should at least make it interesting. So, that was my bad. I could have made that fight a lot more interesting. I thought it was going to be a lot more of a stomp. Literally, because...
Mathematically, there's no... Like, statistically, there was no way you could have known it would have gone that way.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
but also,
true.
knowing, like, this party, I feel like even if you down someone, they'd get picked up immediately saying, like, I didn't hear no bell. I don't feel like anything would have changed.
Yeah, but if I got the chance, he could hold one of y'all hostage, and that could change things. Because
that's more fair.
He's a lot more likely to start murdering y'all if he can't feasibly take you all in. Which he's deduced that he can't feasibly take you all in himself. So he'll just start killing y'all until he can eventually capture someone.
Makes sense.
Which I guess is a small blessing, because if you guys were being really stubborn, he was going to start executing characters. So it's probably best that we didn't get to that point.
Yeah, I would, you know, think I'd rather not have some character death.
Yeah, me too. Again, it's just like, y'all pick this fight. It wasn't your fight to pick. You're just like, oh, we can take him. You
dangled it in front of us, like, enticingly. It's your fault for describing something cool happening.
I was trying to describe him as a menace and powerful, and
oh,
y'all are cool. Like, man, hidden boss fight. Oh, right, let's go.
Yeah, that's what you did. It's like that thing of, oh, you found a super cool secret encounter, and then like it's really hard, but you know, you're not like, I'm gonna go and do this later. It's like, no, I'm already here.
No, it seems feasible, right? Because he hasn't killed anyone, right? And y'all have enough healing to stall him out.
Exactly. It's the thing of when you describe a really cool combat event going on, the players will want to get involved because it'll be cool. Like that's the peril.
If only I could roll well. And then he's just about to change the flow. He's about to overwhelm you, and you crit him. Stop him from calling for allies to postpone everything for another round.
Yeah, it was the coolest shit.
No, he's just gonna pull out a whistle, please.
No.
Oh, God. Anyway, Riptide events aside, which I'd say the story for Riptide definitely is picking up. I think a lot of interesting stuff has been happening. But I do know live plays are not for everyone. We try our best to keep it entertaining. All that aside, though, I don't know. Did you want to make your announcement now, or did you want to wait a little longer?
I mean, now's the fine enough time. Because, like, I mean, regardless of if everyone is here, I'm going to make an announcement in the Discord. Like, right after this table talk, so...
Right.
I mean, I can do it right now.
Then go ahead. Feel free.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to my little TED Talk here. Glad you all could make it. Well, something that we've been mentioning, and a little thing we've been working on behind the scenes. Oh, God. I'm drinking soda. Well, this whole internet thing's real interesting. all this like YouTube content creation and the streaming and the like. How crazy is it? Wouldn't it be wild if like everyone's favorite co-host like made videos? Crazy, right? Now I know. Sit back down, like, you know. And now here's another little question. What is something that I like love and talk about like too much and need excuses to bring up every day in my day-to-day life, which in the end alienates my friends and family? That would be Warhammer 40k. And as such, and I am currently making them public as we speak, I have produced 3 videos on Warhammer 40k and talking about both a setting overview and a faction I play and why they're awesome, much like some stuff that Cam does. And I'm gonna be planning on making this a weekly thing I do, where I go over an army, give some lore, talk about some cool characters and stories, and tell you about the rules and how they play. I have a pretty bumping Warhammer community in the town I'm at. I'm pretty sure in my town there is at least like one person for each faction you can play in the game. So I can always talk to someone from the source who is good at the game and figure out, you know, all this stuff to make sure I'm giving actually good advice. But yeah, that is my little release. I put a link to my channel in both the YouTube and the Twitch stream. There'll be an announcement later in our Discord too. But I mean, I'd certainly appreciate swinging on over, even if you don't care about 40k stuff. Drop in a subscribe and a like, maybe a comment, because that does actually help the algorithm and could help. Like, my goal with a lot of this is to make sure that there is an easy, short form like style of thing to help somebody get invested or even get started on a new hobby, because there's not a lot of like alternatives for that in the 40k like YouTube space. But there you go. There's my little spiel. If you enjoy them, cool. I hope you like them. It's been real fun making these.
Nice, yeah. So, as a bit of a collaborative channel, because, you know, obviously we have a lot of crossover, and I think going forward as well, as long as we stay on relatively good terms.
I don't see any reason to drop ties with you just yet. You're getting on my, like, it's getting close. Don't get me wrong.
My channel, my subscriber count's higher, so you gotta be on my good side.
You're right.
Until yours is higher, and then you're like, ah, man, I don't need this garbage anymore.
Bigger number, better person, I forgot.
Yep, exactly. And, thank you, Kuruja? I don't know how it's pronounced, if you can phonetically put it in, for the follow. And you're just in time for the announcement.
Yeah. But yeah, at least again, I'll put a link in the Discord with a little like announcement. And hopefully you enjoy. I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna get better with it each time I go. It's been real fun making these things. So yeah. I'm excited to see what happens in the future.
All right, 1 second. I'm gonna play this.
Coruja.
Play what?
Coruja. There you go. Coruja is their name.
Oh, cool.
All right.
To the stream.
Always interesting. But yeah, I also have added Glueboy to the my other content section there, which I probably should change to collaborator content. But it's featured on the front page. I just gotta change the name of that section.
Yeah. But yeah, the first actual faction video is on an army I play and enjoy, the Black Legion. I'm still figuring out what the what the next faction I'm going to cover is. I have like I think 2 pretty decent options that I could shoot for. The main thing is I'm taking like a night at least. I just don't want to look at like Premiere or a camera. I've been crunching away at this for like a while. I want to have like a day where I can chill before I get right cracking on it again.
Well, and so tell us. What's your intent? Is this just a casual one for you? Are you gonna push for more? Like, what's the deal?
With like upload rate or like what do you
with
mean?
Your channel?
I mean, I will treat this like I treat a lot of things, where it is a thing I'm doing because I enjoy to do it. My intent at the end of the day is to make something that'll help a person buy their first like model or codex, or at least just gives an outlet to gush about a thing I really enjoy. My current like idea is to like I'm making sure I'm not making too much at once. It'll probably be 1 video a week starting out, with a chance to increase and also offshoot into other games and other videos, like at least ideas. It's not going to just be talking about like faction overview, getting into like a book, that kind of deal. It's going to be more like a lore event, retelling of like a character, even like other games, because eventually I do want to get into some other stuff, like Age of Sigmar, the Lord of the Rings game, the Marvel game, because all those are really fun, and I would love excuses to get into them. And as someone who's been getting into fantasy and like AOS in the past few weeks, I think it'd be extra fun to give myself an excuse to start a new army.
All right. Yeah, I mean, for sure. And in any regard, I also really do enjoy Warhammer as well. So we might have some stuff over there, and that does kind of help like declutter a little bit on this channel as well, because whatever I could do on this channel, we could just pop on over to yours.
Yeah.
And you know, then people can keep their tabletop RPG Pathfinder stuff over here, and we still have a good outlet for Warhammer when we're feeling the urge to you know, attempt some space genocide.
Of course, as you do.
As you do in the Warhammer universe.
And like, I guess one thing to bring up, because if you haven't clicked the link, my channel name is just going to be like Glueboy. Same thing I go by in like all my socials and in Discord. So I don't know. I think it'd be also really fun if, because I did the map hat strategy, the thing he suggested any new content creator does if they're going to post a channel with like no videos on it, is have at least 3 videos on there at the start. I think it'd be really funny if the algorithm picked up one of these things. But that's also a terrifying concept to me.
Well, we'll have to see. Yeah. I mean, definitely people do love their Warhammer. So I'm sure they're hungry for more content, honestly.
I also want to make sure I can provide a form of content for Warhammer I don't believe exists in many other places. Because lore videos are like an hour long. Any rule videos are like reading the book to you, like every single detail, and like not all of it matters is the main thing. Like it's unnecessary information on both ends of it. So I think you could, you know, condense it a lot better, make it kind of entertaining, and then it should be like good. That should be solid like content that isn't being made. That, and I will say it is green screen footage that I'm doing. I have a green screen set up in my garage that I've been like working at for a while, because I'm not planning on being another slideshow narrating YouTuber. As much as I do enjoy some of those channels, making that sounds mind numbing. And I do like me a good chroma key. It's very fun.
It is. Chroma King is pretty fun. I remember going through. I have some green screen content on my channel.
Yeah.
Actually. Back in the cringe gaming days.
Yeah, YouTube. When YouTube gaming like used to be a Let's Player and all that.
Yeah. A very unsuccessful one, I might add.
Most Let's Players like say that. That is true, though. I Am Toast was pretty pop. Though we can't mention, like, I Am Toast without bringing up, Town of Salem.
No! No!
That was really important.
Why must y'all break me down when I finally built myself up?
We have to keep you humble.
And Caruso, thank you. Actually, we do have a lot of Brazilian players who watch the channel. I like frequently, actually, I speak to people about it. And one thing, actually, it was brought up to my attention before. Something I like to do when the channel is a little bit more underway and I have, a lot more disposable income. I'm sure everyone knows the horrible conversion rate from real to US dollars. It's like $1 is like 5 point something real, or along those lines. And what I'd like to do is in the future either have like some kind of giveaway or maybe even like a charity event where we get a bunch of like digital tabletop content or maybe even like books and such, and give them out to people from Brazil.
Yeah, I think it's if anyone's in a position where it's harder for them to afford like tabletop or nerd stuff, I think it's a fun cause to help new people who couldn't normally get into it, like get into a hobby.
I mean, a friend of ours is in a similar situation, and my fiance and we pay for her Final Fantasy 14 sub because otherwise it would be like 60, almost $70 a month.
Yeah, I make it a point to buy her like good games that I'd recommend, because it's like, hey, you're not gonna be able to afford this normally, so here you are. Like I've given a few Steam gifts to this person. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's something that's tragic. I think it's something that a lot of people, who would absolutely love and have shown that they love stuff like tabletop and the like, just can't get in it for financial reasons. I mean, Paizo helps because Archive and Ethos is free, and you can look up pretty much all the rules online there. But that still doesn't make it. Someone was telling me and they're like, oh, I would love to get the Pathfinder materials for Roll20, but it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
It'll cost me $200 just to buy the core book. And it's just
oh my God. Oh
yeah,
my God.
right? Isn't that insane?
God, that's crazy.
So nice. I'm glad y'all are having that, because it's been coming up here in the U.S. since, like, I don't know, a decade ago at this point.
I feel like it started really heavily in 2015. Like, 2015, 2016 was when, like, it got on my radar that this stuff was cool again.
I don't know, because, like, gaming and such was starting in, like, the 2010s.
I mean, it depends on the type, because, like, especially growing up, it, like, through that, like, in school, in peak, like, bullied for your interest days, like, for me, it really did feel like, yeah, you could game, but you had to play the right games.
Well,
like,
yeah,
it was
but
uncool to play anything that wasn't multiplayer, like a multiplayer shooter.
Right.
That was at least, like, my experience. And then, like, 2015, 2016 was when I noticed, like, that started to change. Because I was in, like, middle school to starting high school when that was going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, though, right, is that's dependent on area as well.
Yeah, I guess.
But because when we were growing up, like Halo was coming in and people were just starting to actually playing video games more commonly. But before, like, the advent of, like, the Xbox, it was just like, oh, you're that nerd who plays on PlayStation or Nintendo. And it's been crazy for sure. It's really great to see people are more freely able to enjoy their hobbies,
yeah,
without persecution.
I will say the wildest fucking thing that came from the culture in my area for that, for gaming and being nerdy was the group of people that were that would bully you for not playing games that were like multiplayer shooters, or people who are like proudly like, yeah, you know, I play Uncharted, only the multiplayer though, because I would never play the single player.
Yeah, that was
That's
the thing.
ridiculous. Yeah, that was like the attitude when I was growing up. Like that was like, because when I was in school, it was like becoming more lower-K to game, I guess. But then it was like, then it changed from, okay, we're not gonna make fun of you for playing video games. You just have to play the right ones.
Yeah, you got.
If you're not playing the good ones, then like, because I will say I never had the console wars in my school. We never had that. It was do you play COD or Halo? And we had a really large COD community in our school, and I was a COD player. And it was like, do you play shooters? And if not, you're lame, and we're gonna bully you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that was at least my childhood. And I mean, I played those games, so I knew what I was talking about. But I also was like, yeah, but I play like Pokemon, like other shit. So I'm like a multifaceted person with multiple interests. I can't just like one thing and then nothing else.
Nintendo versus Sega in the 90s. Yeah, it was a big deal then. I don't know. I'm the worst person to talk about it because I've had no reservations of enjoying the things I like. I started LARPing as soon as I found out that there's a LARPing group in our area. And that still gets made fun of to this day. LARPing is still one of those things that you could get bullied for proper.
I mean, I'm guilty of making fun of LARPing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen videos of it, and I'm like, that is the nerdiest thing I've ever seen. Like, that is the like absolute like nerdiest shit. Like,
yeah, I agree, and I loved it so much.
Yeah, no, that's great. Fair.
I
just also never had like those like nerdy interests that would get you bullied for that stuff. I never was into it, so like I never really noticed it or was the victim of it. Because like I never even like, I knew D&D was a thing. I never considered it till I was like 16. Like ever. And it was only because like Critical Role and like was like coming out, and I was like, oh, this is cool. All these voice actors from Fire Emblem Awakening, they have a D&D thing? I've heard of that thing. Like, oh my god, this is hype. And then I got into it.
Yeah, it's crazy how everything has changed so rapidly in the last like 20 years. Yeah, I mean, like, LARP is pretty underground even here, honestly. You know, actually, I think it's a lot more common in Europe. Funny enough, they got a lot of the Renaissance and like medieval war games kind of stuff there.
Yeah, it's like their history.
It's a lot more common, but yeah, LARPing.
Have, like, all the dragons and wizards from their like history books, and they get a reenact.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, did you know some of the knights of King Arthur's Round Table? One was a werewolf, and the other one could shoot lasers from his eyes. Yo,
I wish my textbook said that.
It's a real thing. I'm not even kidding. That's like legitimately
from the
there.
Arthurian legends? What the
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
No, I thought you were just goofing, like saying some random shit. Okay.
No.
You know what? Arthurian shit kind of got cooler. Like, I'm not gonna.
Not up in lasers from his eyes, but I know he threw fireballs.
I mean, Jesus did that in the Book of Revelations. He had laser eyes.
I'm being legit here, Alex. We can't be sacrilegious on the channel.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that is true. That's in the Book of Revelations. He shoots like sword beams from his mouth, and it's the coolest shit I've ever read. I'm not a religious man, but the Book of Revelations is a hype. I love that book. He rides in on a horse named Justice and Truth, shooting sword beams from his mouth, and it's metal.
Okay. Yeah, I know about the sword beams from his mouth. I know he didn't have laser eyes though.
I misconstrued. He shot a thing from one of his orifices.
He shot an energy beam from somewhere. Okay,
it's some like Evangelion shit.
He's the son of God. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, you know what? I respect that. I respect that, Naditi.
Man, Who knew that people writing various holy scriptures were just playing tabletop?
I know, right?
we're just reading their live play.
Oh my god, I wish. That'd be so funny.
That would be really
I mean, there's that one, the Voynich manuscript. You know about that?
No.
The Voynich manuscript. I'd recommend looking up some pictures of it because it's really weird. It is a book that was like passed down from like deposit box to deposit box. It's like I think it's like dated to like 500, 600 years old. I don't know the exact. It's old. But it's written in a language that doesn't exist. The really weird, like artistic, like drawings of like plants and creatures and like stuff. It reads like a biology book that you can't read, and it has like things that just don't exist. And I there's a lot of speculation on what it means. And I really like the theory this webcomic artist posed that it is just a first edition like tabletop game handbook, like that's hundreds and hundreds of years old. Because there's some shit in there where it's like you're reading through a bestiary, where it's, and I own like a hard copy of like of the scans of it. I think it's super cool. It's a really interesting like work that we know like nothing about, and I like the idea that it is an old tabletop handbook like from back in the day. It's just some core book, or even like a supplement book.
Carl Jung's book that he wrote that is designed like an illuminated holy text.
I didn't know he did that, but that does not surprise me with Carl Jung. That man had some kooky cool ideas that I really like. I don't believe in like most or all of it, but gosh, his I mean his work inspired one of the best RPG series ever made. Like the SMT series. And Persona, but I don't like anime. But Persona's cool.
I don't like anime, he says, liking
as a Persona 4 fan.
Animes.
Listen.
I will not listen, Alex. You've gone away with your bullshit for too long.
I should actually look into that. I really like collecting interesting like works like that, like strange holy books or like philosophy books, stuff like that. I mean, I own the writings of Anton LaVey and Aleister Crowley, two like prominent Satanists, because I think their writing is fucking weird. Because they were both fucking weirdos.
And to get on with some other news, the Queen of England has died recently.
You know what? I bet she's still alive.
I bet she's still alive. My dad thinks she's been dead for 3 years, so who's right?
Listen,
I don't know.
Listen, I believe that too to some extent. That she's it's been months like where we haven't seen her. Like she's probably been dead all that time. But now that the man is telling me that she's dead, I think she's alive.
She's alive. She's with Elvis. She's actually an alien.
She was raised from the dead. Now she's running around doing God knows what in the British countryside.
Unsupervised, she's unstoppable.
Yeah, the Queen breached containment. What could she be doing?
Wouldn't that be a fun game? The Queen has breached containment.
I mean, have you seen that meme? It's the it's like it looks like the Queen like climbing on a gate. Just the Queen has breached containment.
Oh no, I know that meme.
Right?
I've seen it. I know that meme as please stop praying for Grandma. She's become too strong.
Yeah, please stop. Oh my god. Yeah, imagine. I like every single person. Every single person in my house, we all talked about it, and all of us were individually like, we thought it was a joke the first time we read it.
Oh, it's just because it's like the Jackie Chan thing where people are just like, Jackie Chan died, and he never does. It's just a weird thing that keeps happening every now and then.
Like it's more than like people have been talking about it. Like it's been I mean, there's a meme like a year or two ago that was some fucking YouTuber made a thumbnail called "What Happens When the Queen Dies," and the thumbnail's Big Ben fucking exploding. So like everyone was like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen?"
The doomsday event has come.
Yeah, the Queen is her own SCP.
I love all these dies, but all these memes here, but it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. In other news as well, That was just something I brought up because I thought it was interesting, because literally the person's been I guess a presence in the world for 3 generations.
Yeah, they've been at least like the monarch for 70 years.
70 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a nutty long time, and that's such a long time to be like in the zeitgeist. It's like Betty White.
Yeah.
And Betty White also passed away, I think, this year. So.
Yeah, it was like right before she turned 100.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think that there's people out there who just have such a presence that when they're gone, people just start believing it's real, because they're like, no, they've always been here. My father talked about her, and his father talked about her. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's strange. That's so weird.
That's so kooky. But in other interesting news, so there's been this big thing on Twitter, for those who are not in the Twitter space. One, and cool enough things, Pathfinder trends a lot, and tabletop games was trending huge earlier this week, I think, or it was last week, because of D&D 1, which is the new D&D coming out and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, D&D 1 has had such a lukewarm response from the audience. On
the coolest thing was that like 3D dungeon thing.
Yeah, they're adding a new, like, their own platform for tabletop, pretty much.
Which is cool. I think an Unreal Engine map is like dope.
I think that's really good. I think that's something that should have been done. One D&D, thank you. My apologies. I didn't know we had I didn't know we had an inherent here. I apologize for insulting you and your people. We're going to be doing it a lot through this story.
I'm going to switch it around. Also, the name is so fucking dumb. Like, that is so stupid. Let's name our tabletop system like an Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done like D&D Free World, or they could have done like any number of things that better represented what they were going for. To be fair, 5th edition D&D was supposed to be D&D Next.
That's also a bad name.
It's also a terrible name.
Not a good name.
Wizards of the Coast, because most of them don't even know what a dragon is, only that they print it on their cards.
What is a dragon?
What is a dragon? That's a good question.
What is a dragon?
There's
that
a
actually
lot of people.
A thing? Is that actually a thing?
What, that they don't know what dragons are?
Yeah.
No, that's a meme.
Okay.
But a lot of them do not really understand tabletop in general. You could tell D&D Time to Be Rad Edition. D&D make role-playing great again. Yeah, I mean... But, so a recent controversy has come up where these guys who are pretty big in the tabletop space, especially in D&D, were commenting on one of the rules, and they're like, hey, what if we do this thing? Now, I did watch the actual clip, and I think it's being blown super duper out of proportion. Because I watched the clip, and they do mention Pathfinder when they're talking. They're like, oh yeah, Pathfinder's got it, and it's pretty slick. And then they just kind of go to describe what they feel it should be like, which is pretty much exactly what Pathfinder does.
I think they say, like, specifically, I think Pathfinder does something similar.
Yes.
Not even like, that is the Pathfinder rule. Like, Pathfinder might do something similar.
He said it like, I if I recall correctly, is the tone he was taking with it.
Yeah.
In any regard, and it's just kicked up this controversy of people saying D&D is stealing from Pathfinder, and then other people saying Pathfinder stole from D&D in the first place, and 4th edition D&D, and everyone has just been up in arms and constantly talking about it. And my goodness, first of all, if a rule is good for your system and not specifically copyrighted, why not steal it? First of all, that just sounds like a good idea.
I don't know. The only form of that controversy I've seen and paid attention to is specifically with that channel in mention, refusing to admit and actively being like super antagonistic to like the idea of, oh hey, that wasn't your idea. Pathfinder 2 he does that, and then like banning people or blocking them when they mention it. Which
I don't know.
I don't know. It's that's the only part of that I've seen is like people banding together, be like, hey, this is a little weird, because the language of the clip I saw was very I just came up with this crazy kooky idea. Pathfinder might do something similar, but here's the Pathfinder like ancestry background class.
I mean, you all can go and judge for yourselves.
Oh yeah, no, don't take our word for it.
When I watched the video, it was very much being like, I think Pathfinder does something like this, and then he kind of goes to describe it. But the thing was, other people were the ones who came on and said, oh, D&D should be paying you. This is a great idea. And I think that's where a lot of it started. And I mean, it could have just been like coincidental, like, or whatever it's called, where like two different things come together to the same answer. Or he might have just been like unconsciously, subconsciously quoting Pathfinder. Because like it was something that was just in the back of his mind. In any regard, as a content creator, I 100%, because you gotta understand, right? Whenever he hears these criticisms, he hears them in a multitude of thousands, or at the very least hundreds. It gets grating, no matter how many times you try to like open up. Now, could they be like super like, no, this is my idea, I came up with it, I wasn't looking at D&D? Yeah, totally, sure. I don't think that's newsworthy. I don't think I don't think one channel that states something like it's fact should be getting Twitter all up in a buzz. But that's the space we live in.
I saw the actions afterwards make me less charitable. It's always like that. It's like, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe benefit of the doubt. Then it's like, okay, your actions later have made me feel like I'm less charitable, that you had good intentions.
I mean, I'm saying it's completely possible. I just don't think it's as newsworthy as it's being made out to be.
I mean, it is Twitter at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it's anything is newsworthy on Twitter. But
that's true.
But
I've seen the tweets, and I've seen other people being like, "Whoa, you came up with a great idea," and the Pathfinder people are getting like, "But Pathfinder did it first." But it's just like, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Pathfinder nor D&D invented rolling dice to come up with results, and D20s technically predated anything D&D ever did. So it's just a situation of everyone is just, I don't know what everyone wants, I guess, out of the situation, other than, I guess, to have their system touted as being the best one. And that might just be all it is. But if D&D steals everything from Pathfinder and does it better, I'm not going to be upset. I'm just going to play that instead because it's just what I like but better.
I mean, also at the end of the day, it is, I've stated this before, I think the idea that you have to only play and align yourself with a single tabletop game is really stupid.
I agree.
Like, the idea that you can't have, I play and enjoy 5e, I play and enjoy Pathfinder. Those aren't mutually exclusive ideas. I actively do that, like, every week. It's so easy.
Yeah,
I think Pathfinder's better written, but it doesn't stop me from enjoying the games I'm in.
It's true.
Because I just, I'm having fun with friends, and that's what the game is. It's dumb. And like if I don't know, if one D&D, like if they take some writing cues from Pathfinder, they make a cool game that people enjoy, good for them. Cool. I'm happy for you. I think some of the rules they've already announced are a little dumb.
A lot of people do.
I think their rework of crits is fucking stupid because like that it takes away some of the fun of the game. Like that is, I understand that it's hard to balance for crits, but another game does it just fine. And and on the other end, like it's fun to crit and do the big damage.
Yeah, it's true.
Taking that away is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, what it really boils down to is they're trying to make a new space, and again, it's kind of like what happened with Kineticist. I'm sure they just threw a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what would stick, and then they're just gonna take that and run with whatever the general populace seems to really gravitate towards.
Yeah, throw over a bunch of random shit, and you see what everyone gravitates to. You see what the actual people who like understand it as well get a lot of new and good eyes on your thing, and then give actually good advice that you take into account. I certainly hope that they do make the crit stuff an optional rule. I think it's a better idea, but on the other hand, it's dumb. Like as a DM, there are ways to mitigate the problems that like a bad crit can deal to a party. There are ways to mitigate it. Or there's ways to prep for if your party gets like a crit chain going, but the likelihood of that is ridiculous. There's also like all of the crazy stories of like people where you're like, oh, tell me some really fun moments from your D&D campaign. They talk about how they got this crazy like game-winning thing with this perfectly situated crit. Imagine taking some of that away from people. Like these really good stories, and you're like, yeah, cool story. You can never do it again in the rules if your DM plays by those rules. I don't know. It seems like a way that just limits like the fun that people have. And if people want the alternative, they are probably already doing that.
Yeah. Well, so that brings up some interesting points. One is I do not understand why everyone has to have an opinion about everyone else's opinion. Because if someone doesn't like something, I think they should have the right to state it. And I guess that works both ways. But the conversation of, well, then just don't use it in your games is super unhelpful for the company. If the company is trying to get feedback from players and no one can say anything because they're just like, well, if you don't like the rule, then put it in. That's not what the company's looking for. They're looking for what people actually want. And if people don't want something, that's important to hear.
Yeah.
Stifling that does no one any good. And it's one of those things where discourse, I think, is also a good thing, but I hate when discourse is ended with like this kind of this end point of, if you don't like it, don't use it, because that's such a it's common sense, right? Almost no one plays any of these games by the way they're actually written. Everyone always changes at least something, or they forget how a rule works, and then they just play the game wrong for decades, which happens. Yeah. So, it's like, it really doesn't need to be that hotly debated of a topic. And not only that, but there's a lot of other political stuff involved that I'm really not interested in talking about. I feel like anything, if from a political perspective, is just based on a table-to-table basis of what people want to tell a narrative about versus not. Because good and bad things must happen in a narrative. So you have to have reason for like adversity, and that is not okay with some people. Some people want a much more like generic, friendly game, and I think that's something they should have as well.
It's all a good discussion with your DM and making sure at the beginning, before you start a campaign, that everyone's interests and wishes are aligned and to be like met. that's important.
It is important. It's a social contract you make when you start a game, either as a GM or as a player. So
Exactly.
everyone's gotta be on the same page, because some narratives are not for every table, and that's completely okay.
I guess also all this stuff's really extra interesting to me whenever I'm like looking through it, like the backlash or something like that, because it's a thing. I have this tendency where I naturally believe that people like have the same thought processes and like reactions more in line to like myself. Something I remind myself of, like, that's not the case. Everyone has like different ways they go about their life. But like I am always surprised and taken aback with like, oh, your reaction to something wasn't just apathetic, I like or I don't like that. Like, it goes further than that. You're actually angry at a thing or people thinking a way about a game. That's weird.
Yeah.
When I saw like the rules for 1D&D, there was stuff I'm like, oh, it's fun, and then other stuff were like the crit roll. I'm like, oh, that's stupid. And then the my thoughts, that's where they ended. At the end of the day, my life wasn't fundamentally shaken or changed by 1D&D existing, and I don't care. But I have to remember, some people do care for some reason about like all of that, and how other people receive something they like or dislike, which is extra weird for me.
It's also a thing as well. I think people put too much intent behind design that really doesn't need to be there. People think like, oh, you made it this way, you must want this or that or whatever. When in actuality, a lot of times in design, it's just like, I wanted to make enemies for my players to fight, and that was it, you know, or
the lumping
whole
of
crit
ideas
thing.
that are then like lumping ideas into a thing and not thinking about the greater ramifications or like the theme that it's portraying. Like, there's stuff like that. It's not intentionally something that's meant to be like horrible. You made a decision, you made a rule, you made a thing, and then people receive it away, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't see it like that.
I mean, and that's why it's important for people to voice their opinions.
That's why it's good to have playtest.
Bring it up. But I'm more talking about, it's just like, it's like the crit thing, right? I'm pretty sure the whole crit thing is around the idea of they want the game to feel less landslidey in one direction or another. They don't want the players to feel like they're getting utterly stomped by crits by random chance and just having their game ended poorly. And they also don't want DMs to get frustrated by their monsters getting utterly stomped in no time at all. And the idea is coming from kind of a balancing point, but a lot of people are approaching it as they're just trying to make D&D a Care Bear game where no one gets hurt. And that's not the intent. They just don't want players to have a bad time, is what their intent of design is.
And at the end of the thing, like, too, like, it's the changing of crits in combat to only be towards like regular melee attacks, which is extra lame for spellcasters. Because, like, hey, all your cantrips, like your attack cantrips, you can't crit with those. That's a spell. Only a regular weapon attack. Oh, you don't make weapon attacks? Well, have fun never critting in combat. Like, that's dumb. But, like, I feel like there's a better way to do that, like, rule-wise, where you can do a similar effect of preventing crits from, like, being one-sided, either player to enemy side. Because there's, like, rules I see people homebrewed of, like, confirming your crits, of like what level of severity a crit fail or a crit success is, or even like, did you actually crit fail here? Like, there's a really interesting homebrew I saw where it was to fix the idea that a level 20 character can just fuck up royally and horribly because you're like level 20, you should be good at a skill, like putting in the Pathfinder like I guess reliability of skills. And it was like a confirming crit that the higher level or the higher your thing in a skill was, the less likely you are to crit fail, or like horribly fuck everything up. Which I just feel like at the end of the day, there's a better way to do that rule, because it does feel like it's just some classes are going to have less fun now because the likelihood of something really cool happening is incredibly lessened.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the only thing I can really default to in this situation is what everyone's been kind of spouting ad nauseum, which is Pathfinder just fixed all these problems.
Oh,
and that is not a D&D versus Pathfinder thing. This is a company that is very close to its community. This is a company that had very good designers on it, some of whom I've spoke to, and are all very intelligent and all very like gamers themselves. And D&D is in the hands of Wizards of the Coast, and that you got way too many hands in the pot of what's going into D&D, and it's just causing issues. The game feels disjointed. D&D 5e was an amazing thing, and one of the most ridiculous arguments I've ever seen, but it kind of held water, was someone just being like, you're just upset because our game, which has been doing much better than yours, is just getting better. And it's just like, that's a dumb argument. But D&D 5e was an amazing game for the culture of tabletop in general. You cannot argue that D&D 5e is an easier game to get into and an easier game to just set up a table and just start rolling.
Okay, it's stupid easy to do that.
I have been doing tabletop for a long time. When I first started playing Pathfinder 2e, I messed up a lot, and there was a lot of times I had to sit down and just look at rules for Pathfinder 2e.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was just because I just didn't have a good grasp of the system, and it required more of that for me. You know what I didn't have a problem with? Running D&D 5e. Running D&D 5e was so easy. The only thing I ever really needed the book for was to look up the wording on spells.
Yeah, that really is like the exact same for me. Like, you just have to make sure spell wording is right.
Right.
But you can pick up like Minds of Foundelver like starter kit and like get cracking at it the moment you open it. It is incredibly easy to get started. But then once you play it like as a DM and you understand everything, you have players who understand it, you have to alter it and do a lot of crazy kooky stuff. I think honestly, I really liked listening to Q's takes on the 1D&D rule stuff and the stuff he's like considering adding and like the stuff he's just not considering, because at least like I believe he has an insane mastery over that system, because he's made it into a system that is a lot more fun. He's added a lot of better things like crafting rules. Like, who would have fucking thought?
Yeah, right.
Oh my god, crafting in 5e? Whoa.
Crafting in 5e.
Oh man, I can make something higher than 50 gold pieces? That's crazy.
Yeah, God.
But it's listening to him talking about it, I was really interested in. Because I think the one he liked the ideas of it, but he also was like, immediately, by the way, I'm not removing crits. He's like, I like seeing the logic behind the decision, but here's my reason of why I think that is like a bad idea, or this idea has gone about poorly. If this is the state of balancing your system, when in the reality a core problem of it is just because, hey, your monsters aren't well balanced, and your balance system that you have that exists, no one understands, including the people working for it. Because what the fuck does CR mean?
Yeah, right. CR literally means nothing. I will say, and this is something that I feel like a lot of people don't properly comprehend when it comes to D&D as it is. D&D 5e is trying to do something that's super impossible, which is to bring enough rule fidelity to a tabletop game while still keeping it open for roleplay and ease of access. Because there are so many games out there that are so rules light that sometimes you just don't touch your dice the whole time you play, and like other mechanics are just done by like some weird abstract rulings or whatever. We're gonna play one game like that, Blades in the Dark, here soon, which is a lot more on the narrative light or rules light kind of heavy narrative style gameplay.
Yeah, Vale was running me through the some like character stuff and how the sheet looks, and I am hyped. That stuff looks awesome. I really like it. Is not going to come up in our one shot. I really like how XP is done in that system. I gotta say.
Yeah,
it's
I'll have
so
to take
cool.
a look at it.
It is it's so you pick a playbook with how your character like acts, like with their personality, and you get XP for acting like your character.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like there's actions for like the playbooks, and taking actions that are similar to that will earn you XP because you're playing in character. So by role playing, that's how you level up.
Good night, Karuja. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Go ahead.
I was reading chat. And I will say too, like, I can imagine, like, honestly, getting into Pathfinder is not that hard. I think the problem is like, I can't imagine picking up the Pathfinder starter kit and rolling with it with all the rules of Pathfinder. But like getting into D&D is stupid easy. As like when I first ran it, I ran it relatively well, really badly in comparison to like stuff I've done later. But like, it ran smoothly because the rules itself are stupid simple. For Pathfinder, I feel like you at least require someone there who understands more of it, who at least has more knowledge than someone who's just opening up the starter box or opening up the book for the first time ever. And I also have not read through the beginner box. It probably has things for that. Just going through the experience of playing both games for the first time ever, I will say that 5e is incredibly more simple. But in the end, I mean, the big difference is that I enjoy Pathfinder 2e progressively more now that I understand it, and I like 5e less the more I understand it. So it's that trade-off. Like getting into 5e really early on is a great experience, but once you like fully understand how everything works, you're like, oh, there's some issues. And then for 2e, you're like, oh, this is really tough. Oh wait, no, it's not. And this game's hype. This is the coolest shit ever. Every new book is just phenomenal in quality and tops the other. Man, I wish every game had like this. If you're talking, I cannot hear you.
There it goes. My mic unplugged.
What the fuck? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. That's strange. But yeah, I mean, that's just the thing of it is Pathfinder 2e is getting more and more popular, and I don't. Maybe it is. Maybe it is the discourse. Maybe it is the people just being complete asshats about the system. But whether you believe it or not, Pathfinder is getting better. And it's getting a lot more traction now, especially because more people know about the game. The game has a lot more content out, and this whole D&D versus Pathfinder thing is giving them publicity. So, I mean, in the end, it's all kind of like, this is my general state on everything, which is just, everything is just in flow of how people are as people. Like, this is just what happens. Whenever something new happens, whenever there is two parties to something, there's always going to be this kind of discourse. The things I don't like are people stifling other people's opinions. I think that's bad. And it works both ways in a lot of situations. We just all... Well, we don't have to do anything. Just know what you want in a game and go with that. Yeah. You can want more out of D&D, and you can voice your opinions, and you should feel like you should at least do so to Wizards of the Coast. And we can talk about how you like one thing over another, because you're right, Alex. D&D is a game that strangely gets worse the more you play it. And it's very rare that you run into a game that the high point is your first month playing it, you know?
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And I mean, if I had in my brain like a tier list of of tabletop systems. I would say 5e is a fine B minus C tier game. Like I think it's fine. You can have a lot of fun with it, but like, yeah, no, like once you understand everything works, you kind of are like, man, I wish there was more. I wish I had more shit I could do.
Yeah.
And then because you're wishing for more shit, and then that expectation goes on to your DM, who now has to make more interesting shit to keep the players fully engaged. Because there's like no horizontal leveling to speak of. Or there's such little of it that like a level up sometimes can feel like nothing changed.
Yeah.
That's the lame thing. I've had that like in 5e where I'm like, man, it feels like nothing happened. Leveling up should be this insanely cool shit where I become noticeably more powerful. But
yeah.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, like it's also, the more I say this, I can't wait till you have the clout where my statements on this can get taken out of context and clipped.
Right.
But like, I play and enjoy 5e. One of my most like favorite characters I've ever played in like tabletop is a 5e character. I enjoy the game. I'm like, man, it could be cooler. But I'm also not going to yell at someone for saying 5e is good. I'll be like, yeah, I like it too. Or like, oh man, I'm playing D&D like 5e today. And it's like, oh, you're not playing Pathfinder? Are you really playing tabletop then? Like, that's weird. That's
exactly.
weird, dude. I hope at the very least the people who are getting into Pathfinder like meet the normal sane people who are like recommending the game, where it's like instead of the people who are being dicks about it, like oh hey, have you heard of Pathfinder? It's like, oh no, I haven't. Oh dude, check this out. Here's the cool like classes you can be. I'm like, oh damn, that's what I do. I ask someone, hey, have you heard of Pathfinder 2e? There's some cool shit you might like in there. And then I tell them like some archetypes or classes and like abilities they can do. You know, every time they're like, yo, that sounds cool.
What did Alex do? Alex started his own channel and has 3 new videos on it.
I did. I'll make a Discord announcement for it. At the end of it. At the end of this table talk, I'll write one up. I can't write one up and talk. I can't multitask like that.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a broken record at this point. Enjoy what you want to enjoy.
Yeah.
Talk about what you think. You know, like, feel free to have discourse. But if someone else is just like, no, you're wrong, just be like, well, then I guess that's just your opinion. Because that's what it is in the end, is everyone's just talking about what their opinion is. And I think Pathfinder 2e is a much better designed game than D&D 5e. But I think D&D 5e does something that Pathfinder can never do, which is be so accessible that getting a game started takes almost no effort, and running a game takes almost no effort.
It is impressive, but then, you know, the more you play, the less goated it gets.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any game, you know. It's just like, you really enjoy a game when you're a kid, but when you get older, you're like, man, this game was kind of basic. I don't know why I like this game as much. It's that thing. When someone is coming into the genre for the first time, they need something that's a lot more digestible. And then when they want more, they can go and seek it. If anything, I would be completely fine with D&D being the gateway to the tabletop for everyone.
That does seem like the case. It feels really like D&D 5e is like the gateway drug to all of these other games.
Well, Dead Phoenix, what your statement comes from people who have experience running the games. The problem is first impression running the game. Because I'll tell you, running Pathfinder 2e for your first time is rough, because you're looking up traits all the time. You're looking up rules, specifically like how they work a lot of the time. In D&D, that just doesn't happen. Now, when you're more experienced running the game, yes, D&D or Pathfinder is easier once you have enough grasp on the system to run the game, because the game runs itself, which is really good. D&D, the GM has to do so much effort to make the game run in a rational fashion. But I'm talking about, if you pulled up the books first day read and try to run a game, your D&D game will run way smoother than Pathfinder 2e.
Another thing I'll mention too is the whole like accessibility of 5e compared to other stuff. Like, the one thing I see with people saying like Pathfinder looks too complicated, for someone who's in Pathfinder or like at least plays a lot of tabletop, that's like, what are you talking about? It's so easy. But I've played in very casual like D&D games in my time where you're playing with people who like even 5e is a little too complicated for them.
Yeah.
Like
true.
where that like I've played with that where it's like, how do I cast a spell? How do I attack? And it's like, oh, it's like for us it's like muscle memory. It's so easy. But then like the moment you start with someone, by the way, you have 3 actions in a round and here's your feats, that's too much because a single like spell list or 2 weapons or even like a companion, like a familiar is too complicated for some players who kind of just want the game to be like able to be played for them. And I've been at those tables. It is just there's the difference of like investment in it. For someone who like knows how like tabletop games work, Pathfinder is a breeze. People who have never played it, Pathfinder looks like insanely daunting. Like, what are you talking about? I get 3 feats in this level. What's a feat? There's 3 types of feats? Oh no.
Well, and that's also one of the beauties of D&D. How many choices do you get when you make a level 1 character?
Fucking nothing.
You get 3 choices. You get your race, your background, and your class. And I'll state this right now. I was thinking yesterday of making a video just comparing, completely unbiasedly comparing the points for each system. And I came to the same conclusion in both. Backgrounds mean absolutely nothing. Backgrounds like are so interchangeable that it's dumb. They don't add anything. Like in D&D, all you need is that your background gives you a skill proficiency, a tool proficiency, and maybe like some extra gear, maybe an extra skill, or
even like sometimes a special ability like folk hero, and then no one else. Or criminal, where it's like you have a thing that the DM will forget you have.
Yeah,
you will forget you have.
And in Pathfinder, you get 2 ability boosts, one that's a pick between 2 and a free one, and you get a skill, or you get a trained proficiency, and you get a skill feat. It doesn't really matter what the actual background is about because that's all what it boils down to. Yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. So, like, background doesn't really mean anything. So it's like, it's race and class. And most classes don't even have, like, a choice at the beginning. And, yeah, I agree. So, you know, it's just like, that's so easy. I mean, for people who have a hard time making choices, that is really, really the worst it gets. Is, all right, what class sounds good to you? All right, here's a race that fits that. Here we go. That's like the only difficulty comes from actually making choices. But in Pathfinder, not only do you have more ancestry choices, people say there's less because I think D&D has like 100 or something at this point. But everyone needs to remember, versatile heritages multiply the number of possible choices for ancestry picks by a really high amount, actually. Isn't this targeting the combined difficulty of creativity and choice selection? I guess, in what way are you referring? But anyway, so just picking your starting thing in Pathfinder, your choices are much higher just by picking your ancestry, not let alone your feat from your ancestry or ancestry and versatile heritage. And then Pathfinder has twice as many classes, or almost twice as many classes to pick from.
Because there's
Yeah, I'm.
also the really fun ancestry feats that are like the one I think of as Tiefling, because I was making a Tiefling character like recently, where oh yeah, there's all these feats, the normal standard stuff, and then there's like Pitborn, Hellspawn, like stuff where it's like, and now here is a feat that that shows more of who your character is and gives you an ability based on a backstory or like their actual like living heritage. Like the cool feats where it's like what type of ancestry are you? Are you a metallurgy dwarf? Are you a hill dwarf? Like what's your deal? And yeah, no, I think the ancestry feats are really well done, and
They are,
making character more interesting.
but they're really bad for when you're first getting into tabletop and you just need people to sit down and experience the game so that the next time they come, they can make a more informed decision about what's going on.
Yeah, and that is also precisely like the thing I bring up with playing D&D with very casually less tabletop invested people, Dagon, because like that is true. Like I have played in tables where the limited choices of 5e is even too much choice for people. And like for us, we can be like, oh yeah, there's no real choice. But like that is a thing for some people when they come up to a table. The idea of making a creative or interesting character is really hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me. I have to be like inspired to get it. Some people don't even have that. So there's a reason why it is like that, and it's the thing that's selling someone on Pathfinder is hard, because you show them, oh, here's this really cool system, here's some fun stuff you can do. All right, now make a fun thing that's completely yours. That is really hard and scary for some people.
When there's no right choice, no right answer, choice is difficult. Yes, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's why a system that's a lot more straightforward, like D&D, at least for your first time getting into the hobby, is very important. And because it heavily limits that, and it has a lot more going for it as far as just letting players pick something they like than something like Pathfinder that, like, not only do your ancestries, like, they have sub options for ancestries as well, which D&D does have. Not a lot of, like, 2 options, but they have it. D&D or Pathfinder just has more. It's just like, again, I'm purely talking, no one here is saying that D&D 5e is a better system than Pathfinder 2e, because that's categorically wrong for most of our opinions, I feel like. In my opinion, it is a much better game on all fronts, including ease of play.
Yeah, Colton's saying it, though.
Yeah, and you should. It's a great game. I'm saying first time, it is easier for D&D.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Pathfinder offers more choices. It's a better game. It's a better game, people. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about, for someone who doesn't know tabletop, Pathfinder is intimidating on all fronts. Especially if you're a DM, because then things have traits that apparently mean things. Your weapons have traits that mean things for how they operate. Like, being the one in charge of making sure everything runs smoothly is a nightmare. Once you understand, it's easy. I will say that once you have a grasp of Pathfinder 2e, it is easier to run than D&D 5e, purely for the sake of, you just don't have to make up the rules. In D&D 5e, there's a lot of times you just gotta make something up, because there's just no rule for it. Or what rule they have is so incredibly vague or unusable, like crafting. But if I was to give 2 people, or like to give a clone of a single person, all right, so it's we got our flat data here, right? A clone and the person themselves, Pathfinder 2e and D&D 5e, gave him a day to read it and then a day to run the next session, I'll tell you, the D&D 5e player will run a much smoother session than the Pathfinder 2e. And then if you age it by 5 months, the clone has died because D&D 5e is too stressful and his poor genetic makeup couldn't take it. But that's not the point.
That is, I think, a really good question. What are there other games that do that, like what 5e does? Like, makes it really easy for a new player to get into it? Because, like, of all the ones we've played, I don't know.
Yes and no. All right, so I'll say this for sure. There is no game that is easier to get into that is as rule heavy is not the right way I want to put it, but has as many rules as D&D 5e. A lot of the other games that are easy to get into are very rules light and don't have as much impact in rules overall.
Yeah.
D&D 5e, Lancer, I agree, is a really, really good game for first timers. I think it's a fantastic game.
I will say, I feel like the Warhammer one, it is easy to play. Character creation's a lot harder, but we, made it harder on ourselves for making tier 3 characters. Making a tier 1 character is stupid easy. But the idea too of like picking up someone who's never played a tabletop game and is like, all right, what game do you want to get into? And like finding a game that is super easy, I think it's true. Like I don't think there's anything as easy as 5e. I think 5e is like the
that has the same rule weight, because there's other games that literally you walk in and have like nothing, and that's the point of the game, is like they're so rules light, it's nuts.
And like Lancer, I will say, was super easy to like get started. Also helps that they did the great thing that independent tabletop things did and have a whole website that makes character creation really easy and fun. Because ComCom is the coolest.
ComCom is really good.
Also, we really need to actually look into WildSea. Like, we need to do that.
We do. I mean, it's definitely going to be on the list. After we do Blades in the Dark this month, next month we're having our Halloween Bloodborne one-shot. And then starting in November, we'll be hopping back into the voting for new game systems and trying them out. I really needed to get Warhammer and Blades in the Dark off the chart so that we can keep going forward, because they kept getting really close and just weren't making it over. So we'll definitely look at more games coming up soon, and we'll be recruiting for those for at least a one-shot. So if anyone's interested, I mean, that's something I think we do really well here on the channel, is at least giving our first impressions, and we record the process of making characters so that people can see how much goes into it.
Interesting. Not fully the point that he's making, but I do need to ask, will there be a poison swamp? Will you do it?
If you're in it, then yeah, totally.
What? Why? Because I'm in it. Well, that's so mean. And like, I think like, some form of hate crime.
Put 2 of them. Some form.
But yeah, put 2.
Literally, Alex, I cannot hate crime you. We are too closely related.
Yeah, we're like ancestrally from the same place. That is true.
We did discover recently that Alex and I at least have some heritage in Norway that's like maybe 100 miles apart or something like that.
Yeah. We narrowed it down a little bit. I do believe I have my family name, like my Norwegian family name, and then I have apparently they own land up there, but it's like in the southern tip of Norway, like one of those areas. And I immediately gave all the info to Cam. I was like, Cam, are we related? Have I just been? Is it just because I ignore all family reunion bullshit like ever? Because I don't want to deal with that. I thought it'd be so funny if like the idea of, oh yeah, here's the family land. Oh, those are family friends. Or oh yeah, no, we're cousins, or something. That'd be wild.
Dayon, I think that is a very interesting idea. But one part of this series as well is I learn the system so that I can give my first impressions on running the system as well. So that's kind of one of the things about a lot of this is we want to give our first impressions because that's literally all we have to offer. We can't play these games long enough to give, I feel like, a really good, like, what's your takeaway from this game. So I do like that idea, and maybe that's something we'll do in the future is have some people want to run their games for us. Wouldn't that be a cool idea, Alex? Have like a competition where we draw like 5 people randomly from a lotto, and over the next like couple months they run a one shot for us, and then we give the winner of the one shots some kind of prize for how they run their game.
Would be an interesting thing to put together and make a competition. It's a very interesting competition because of how subjective winning that means. Like,
true,
but it is interesting. Though also, like, I mean, it's something that I've been like, I'm waiting for the server. I would love it if this server became a thing for people to like, oh yeah, there's a so and so just running a game in that channel. There's people play like Pathfinder or like any of these other systems like in the Bad Luck Gamer Discord. I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah.
And I do want to try Wild Sea at some point. I just sadly don't have the time to join like new games or one shots.
Same.
It's very hard.
Everything we do is at the like. I'm sad. I only run one game a week. That's rough for me.
Yeah. I mean, I would if I could, I would love to have more games in a week, but I also know that I can't handle that. Because I've been there when I was playing too many games in a week, and it was rough. It was real bad. I feel like my role playing has improved since I dropped some games and like got better with it.
Yeah, I think that's usually what a lot of people go through.
Yeah, I had to go through it. But also, I will never regret it because I do posit that having all those games, man, I had a thing I was doing each day, which helped me through quarantine. It was the problem of when I had a real life start. And I balanced real life with that. That's what made it difficult. But during quarantine, it was real nice to be playing tabletop every day. So then I had it was like I was doing stuff and with people.
You know, Colton, you're right. Yeah, even if it's your favorite food, if you eat it too much in the ssame week, it gets a little harder and harder to eat.
I found myself checking out more often in a game. Now it's like when I play a game, I'm like, I feel I'm a lot more present in it. Like since I limited like really hard how many games I'm in, I'm at my max like game limit right now. I will not.
I am purely just for time.
Yeah. I also just am a person where I need time where I'm not like talking to people. Like I need like a little like good chunk of like my of a day where I'm just actively not communicating with another person, just to relax.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just running a YouTube channel, so
yeah,
like it takes a lot of time. Like the 3 videos I put out a week takes a lot of effort because it's also in conjunction with a lot of other things that we're doing as well, like a lot of the other projects we got still under the hood at the moment.
Yeah,
and it's also kind of like starting a company up in a sense as well. I have a lot of conversations with people where I feel like I'm trying to start a business. And yeah, it's crazy, but I feel like everyone needs to understand that no matter how much you enjoy something, you do yourself a disservice if you play it in a way that takes away your enjoyment when you do so.
True.
I would love to run at least 2 games a week. I think is my is a good healthy amount for myself. I can't do that right now because literally just don't have the time. A lot of times, even when we do these like looking into games, we have to sacrifice Riptide for it. Yeah. I think this time we will not have to, which will be nice. But usually we have to because it's just also just time, like what days people have available usually runs in the beginning of the week, strangely enough. So I don't know, but yeah. And I mean, and I'm sorry to hear that, Dev Phoenix. I do hope we get more people starting up their own games in our Discord. It makes me really happy to see when people are getting together for stuff like that. But I think everyone needs to have the expectation that tabletop is tabletop and schedules are the greatest boss anyone could ever fight.
Honestly, in a perfect world, everyone be able to show up regularly, but then sometimes things come up in your life or stuff happens where you're like, I am not playing today. Or I actually can't. Don't know.
I'll be right
Cameron!
back.
Cameron! I imagine the actual, like, the I can't wait for the real-life battle pass, Colton, if that was the case. Though, granted, you can also say the great thing of, you know, when I die, I want Ubisoft to lower me into my grave so they can let me down one last time. Yeah, that's the big problem. Everyone needs to stop having jobs, friends, loved ones, family. Just need to, like, not do anything. Just wake up, play D&D, go to sleep. I wish. I can't wait to unlock IRL emotes. Just get some water paint for it. You do the battle pass, you pay for the better thing. You get like a cool like spray. Pretend to be people with lives. Yeah, I do things. I 100% do things outside of this this channel and in tabletop. I do other things. I promise. Ah, goddamn. All I can think of now with mentioning Ubisoft is that game they were making. That's like the cool parts of Assassin's Creed 4, and then they made it into a really lame Sea of Thieves knockoff. That's all I can think of, and I'm saddened by it. Also, because I'll get like no other fucking chance to mention it. Assassin's Creed is making an entry in the series that is like the old ones, like the original series, and I'm really excited. Because I love those games. They're really fun. And I really want to not have this full battle RPG thing that's really annoying and boring. I want the cool shit from like Assassin's Creed like 1 to 4. I just want that back. Again, please. For the love of God. I want to be like part of the Masyaf like Assassins again. I wanna be in some cool historical time, have a fucking hood and a hidden blade. It's so hard to ask. Assassin's Creed 4 is very good. It's one of the best. I did a retrospective thing, like when I was a project I was working on, and still will make eventually. Where I would play through all the Assassin's Creed games, like again, and 4 is genuinely like one of the best. And also I will say Unity is a lot better than people said at the start. It's fixed. They fixed a lot of the problems Unity had. It's a lot better. Except for the fact that for some reason everyone in France is British. I don't understand that, but, you know, there's, like, no French accents to be found in that game. Also, I see you're back on the stream, Cam.
I am. I've just been listening. I got a really fun idea for a type of content. What if we ran the Generations D&D? You know what? That's a better name for an edition. D&D Generations.
It's like Monster Hunter.
But what if we ran here's my crackpot idea, right? What if we ran a game of D&D starting at the very first edition of D&D, and then every 5 sessions we just upgrade to the next D&D,
and then you have to build your character in the closest way possible in that system.
Exactly.
That's super fun. I like that idea a lot.
I was trying to think of a rational number of sessions, because it's just one of those things where it's just like, whatever I say, it's just going to feel like too much. I was initially going to say 10 because I was like,
That's too
that
much.
seems like a rational amount. But
That's
then I was
too
like,
much.
it's too much.
That
5,
is
I
like
think,
2 months of play.
yeah.
Well, like it feels like if you do 5, it's just enough to get comfortable with the system, and then you change.
And then change it, yeah. Which I
Yeah.
think would be good. It'd be a year-long thing. Now that we moved editions, what's my THACO? Yeah. I think it would be really fun. I think it'd be really fun to watch players struggle on stream trying to figure out how to play their new characters. To see the difference in the rules.
I think that's a super cool idea.
I think that'd be a really cool idea. I would love to do something like that. It would have to be something once we get a better project line where I can dedicate more time to getting a game set up and run it. Because again, it's the time. It's always time. But I think that would be a really, really fun way to look through like all the editions of D&D and just get a grasp of like how tabletop has changed over the years.
Just like the change. Oh, my dagger somehow got shorter.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It's just, I think it would be funny. I think it would be a really fun way to do it. There's so many great ideas if I just had the time, but I would love to get it set up where it's just like a year-long live play of going through all the editions of tabletop and seeing like just having enough to get used to the system and then completely changing it every time. I want to see what level the characters would end up at by the end of it.
Yeah, because all the different XP systems.
Yeah.
Look how that changes. That's a super fun idea. Oh my god, and like if it's using like the art too. So like all the handouts are like you can only use art that comes from that edition. Like for character art or monster art. It's also the progression of like a monster like over time where it's like, here's a monster you fight and you're like, oh, that's what they look like? So you only ever see them in 5e.
Better yet, and the stream layout changes every edition.
Yeah.
Going up and up and up.
It needs as many things as you can include in this idea that shows that things are progressing. That's super cool. Also, quick question. What the fuck is a THACO?
You don't know what THACO is?
No.
It's 2-hit armor class.
Why is it written like that?
That's the abbreviated version of 2-hit armor class. Because the 2-hit armor class zero.
So wait. So you get a like for full plate. So it's a -2 for the enemy to hit you?
Yeah, so they have a -2 to hit the your AC.
What an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never fucking heard of that. Because
it has really weird math and like an algorithm in it. It's really weird.
Oh, my favorite.
I know. Yeah, well, we'd have to do it if we go through it. So
I am more and more invested in this. I would probably join that, even if I was like, this is stretching how many games I need to be in. I'd probably join that because that sounds so fucking fun.
It does sound like a really cool idea.
You know what? That idea we can always put like save it for later, write it down, and then that's like the first thing we'll do once both of us have more time, when we can properly delegate shit out.
Yeah, I would love to do it though, for sure.
100%.
I think it would be fun, and like you only get like 20 hours in each session, but I think that's I even then I think that's good. I don't know, it'd be a really interesting way to go about it. Also, we're getting to the end of the stream here, but I also wanted to mention Pathfinder 2E just had their Kingmaker adventure path come out. And if you played the Owlcat Games Kingmaker, Pathfinder Kingmaker, and everything like that, they've released it now. It has a kingdom management system in it. They've released it for Pathfinder 1st Edition, 2nd Edition, and for D&D 5e. Definitely one of the games I also really, really want to try because I liked Kingmaker when I was playing through it.
I need to play Kingmaker. I've only played Wrath of the Righteous. I really liked Wrath of the Righteous though.
Wrath of the Righteous is just a slightly better done Kingmaker IMO. Yeah. But you fight things other than demons, so...
Whoa. Hold the fort.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That is weird. It is really weird considering, because, like, you just fight so many demons in Wrath of the Righteous.
I like demons, so I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean, playing through it didn't feel bad at all. But you have more fae in it and more actual like creatures.
God, and then they're making a Warhammer game. I'm gonna be so excited when that comes out.
There's so much great stuff coming out. I don't know. I don't know if I want to. Maybe I shouldn't. I was just thinking like I'd also kind of like to have like maybe a sub gaming channel, but every channel does that and it always kind of flops. So maybe I should just keep gaming private.
I mean, it's that, or I mean, could always just purely stream it.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing as well, is just streaming. Maybe like a Twitch exclusive streaming stuff.
I mean, yeah, whenever, or YouTube at the very least, because like, the main thing. I mean, one, you can't make money through like a Twitch stream.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it goes on to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I've also seen channels that do that, and it also kind of flops. And also, the algorithm doesn't like it when you put floppy material on their...
Is there a way to stream on YouTube and not save the VOD to the channel?
I mean, you just delete it after you're done.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I don't know. It'd be fun to have streamed game stuff. Like this, that's always a good time.
We do have Bad Luck Gamer VODs, yeah.
I do have that.
I made it because it was at the time where I had to upload things separately from Twitch because we were an affiliate, but now we just multi-stream, which is better.
Really not a thing. And is that possible? Like you stream on your YouTube account and then the VOD it goes to that account?
No, you gotta stream on the other one.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could, and I just had to delete it afterwards. And
that's probably it. That's what other streamers do.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe you just do that, but I don't know. I guess I'll have to ask y'all, like, how interested. Well, I mean, there's a whole probably like 4 of you right now. But how interested would y'all be in watching some gaming streams? I've done it before. I mean, there's a video on the channel currently of a lot of my VODs from streaming the 1 year of Bad Luck, which we're gonna have another one of those videos coming up here soon.
Oh shit.
Which I have no idea what I'm gonna put in whatsoever.
Maybe the same thing. Could always pull from Table Talk and find the funniest bits.
Trying to get you canceled. Fair.
Yeah. Fucking EDF.
Yeah. Man, I was going through the videos. 100 subscribers 10 months ago. We had 100 subscribers. What day? October 20th. Man, we're about to hit that with over 1,000. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Where is 1 year of Bad Luck? There it is. It has the one naked guy from
Yakuza.
Yeah, Yakuza on it.
What a great game.
But that video, I might watch that video after we're done here, just because like I think it's really funny. There's a lot of great things that show up on that video. Even though it has 28 views, man. Back when the channel had barely anything.
I mean, also could always make an announcement asking like, hey, are there any clips or like moments during videos or streams you would like shouted out for a remembrance thing like that?
Maybe.
I mean, there's some really funny, I'd say like stuff we've done on Table Talk or other like live play stuff that I think would be fun to see. It's just also remembering all the cool shit.
Maybe, for sure. Maybe we can put a thing up where people can put in their like most memorable moments they've had with the channel so far for a 1 year YouTube anniversary. Because I like generally I think there's some fun things. I can always take clips from like all my highest performing videos and splice them together, or maybe I'll just talk about like the experience. I don't know exactly what I do.
That, and I mean, we have a few Twitch clips that are from this year. Those would be good ones.
Do we?
Yeah, we have Twitch clips
from this year.
Yeah,
we do have
clips.
I think the ones we have are already in that video. Actually, one second.
Clips.
Clips of my channel. Here we go. Shifty bombs, deep voice, nya. We got a few. Not a lot, but we do have a few. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of like clippable content because it's either live play or it's our table talks. And to be fair, we have like maybe on average like 10 people watching some of these.
No, yeah, true.
But I do think there's some great moments, and it's a lot to celebrate. We're a year in, we're almost at 1.23k, and the channel's still going strong. It'll get even stronger. November we'll probably have another blow up. We'll probably hit 2k by November, honestly.
Yo. If
trends continue. I know the build videos are doing well. I just need to get back on it. Norway was a rough trip for content production.
Yeah.
But get back on it. Get some of the other projects we have, on the back burner put up. And as well, like hitting 1K is a lot, but hitting 2K will double everything we did in a year. So, like it's crazy. It's crazy to think of how well the channel's been doing. The channel's been kind of on a slow decline lately because of, content and trips and all that kind of stuff. And we're still at over 100 subscribers a month. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All y'all watching and commenting and doing all that stuff. You're all the real ones.
Really, for real. That's why I want to do my best to make content that everyone wants to watch. I do legitimately watch. I look at the comments. If I feel like I've done something wrong, I will always come up and be like, hey, you're right, I missed something. Or, I try to have as much open discourse as one can possibly have. Especially fortunate to be able to do so now, because eventually we just will not be able to answer everything. But, yeah. And I guess as another thing before we head out as well, we are still looking for community builds. So if you want to put your builds up, it's a thing that I really do want to shout out members of our community. We have a lot of great people: Dead Phoenix, Dagon, obviously Devin Colton, Nagatsune,
me,
Gray. You're on the show. I can't pat you on the back.
I would still appreciate some nice words every
Alex
once in a
has
while.
been such a great co-host.
Don't fucking patronize me.
But then I just can't please you, can I?
Yeah, I know. You can't win. Fuck you.
Meh. Slug. Epsilon has been a really good one. I got some people on in the Discord from even before. Beagle was another one that was with us before we did tabletop. Like, I do appreciate and I do see everything everyone posts, and I want to do my best by you all as well. Make content that you all want to see and give you all the appropriate I guess kudos. Yeah, there's probably a better word for it, but it means a lot. It means a lot, the interactions on the channel and everything like that. And the channel is still continuously growing. We are like, we hit 1,000 at the end of July, and we're already a quarter of the way to hitting 2,000. And it's just the beginning of September. So in a little over a month's time, we've already done 3 months or 4 months worth of work that we did prior. And not only that, the Discord has how many people now? Like over 100?
Yeah, I tagged like 101 plus people when I made an announcement. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of people.
Like, the Discord is getting big. We got a lot of people who are interested in seeing what we got going on. And there's a lot of content I want to make. I want to make content with my viewers, as well as the people who have been helping support the channel IRL. So, you know, like, we got a lot of stuff, and I want to say thank you all. We're not at the year point yet. I guess I can't cry until that happens. But, you know.
Yeah.
Gotta save those tears, you know, because I only get so many per year.
Yeah. You have to spend them wisely.
I have to spend them wisely. So it's going to be all for content. But, you know, it means a lot. And I never thought that this was going to be nearly as successful as it has been. And I want to keep pushing and going further and further. So, you know, I guess with that, we're going to go ahead and say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Do you have anything you want to say, Alex, before we head out?
I hope you enjoy the stuff I make.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not much else.